What's up, guys? It's Christian with the HQ. I got a tutorial today where we're going to go over the basics of piping over textures from TouchDesigner into MadMapper, and it's just scratching the surface of what we can do combining these two different softwares. I've done some tutorials in the past where TouchDesigner was our main source of projection mapping, but combining it with MadMapper is super great. It has a lot of different tools that we can make use of and makes it a lot easier for us to get something like this up and running in no time flat. All right, so jumping right off, I have a fresh TouchDesigner project where this is a little camera input of the position of my projector, and then it's projecting onto my wall. So I'm lucky enough to have the JPEGs of these two different prints right over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those down. Once I have those down, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out some nulls, and then I'm gonna go ahead and plop down a spout. Do the same thing over here. And then you'll have to name these two different things. So I'm going to go ahead and name this one print 1 and then this one print 2. Once we have that set up, we're going to go ahead and pop over into MadMapper. And the interface for just a fresh project is going to look like this. We want to go ahead and go into output and then go full screen mode. And it's going to now black out the output of my projector over here. Then I'm going to go ahead and click this little box over here and click this, which is going to signify for a quad. And it's now going to show up on the screen. I'm actually going to go ahead and click output and push video cursor as well, so I can see the cursor in the view. Once we have our checkerboard pattern over here, I can go ahead and match it. You're not going to be able to see me zoning it in, but you'll see that it's pretty standard, just like quad stuff. And I'm going to be able to drag the quad over. And essentially, I just want to go ahead and roughly map this and then do a second one as well. Pull this over, and this is going to be print 2, and this will be print 1. Once we're good to go, and yours isn't going to look like mine because you're going to be working with a different angle, and it's very hard for you to directly replicate this, but you should be able to use any sort of like framed images, framed posters and things like that. You could easily just take a picture of it, crop it in Photoshop and pop it into TouchDesigner. But once we have this looking good, we'll go into this tab over here, and we want to go down into Spout. And you can see that we have the names of the spout textures that we're popping over. This is print 1, so I'm going to go ahead and double click that. And then the second one, I'm going to also go down to Spout 2 right here. And then those are the different textures that are coming across. If I look over, and I'll show you guys in the TouchDesigner view, if I look over, you can see that the projector image isn't matching up perfectly to the framed part of my image. And so all I have to do is just kind of zone it in and get that looking like it matches up correctly. So with this first print selected, right here is our actual masked view of the projection, but over here is how it's mapped onto that quad over here. So if I can just go ahead and click this and this over here, it's going to bring it over to the side so that I can map it correctly. It looks pretty good there. I'm going to go over to the side so that it matches on the XY plane. And then I can bring it down. And with these things selected, you can also use your keyboard to kind of zone it in a little bit more. And so what we did was essentially map out the area of our projection with this guy over here, and then we finessed it with the UV map over here. I'll do the exact same thing for this guy. All right, and so finessing these little handles over here, I got them pretty much matched up. You can see that they're lining up just kind of how we want, where we're taking the print and we're literally plopping it on top of itself. So from there, I mean, we're pretty much off to the races as far as getting something cool looking. I'm going to go ahead and pop a level underneath or before this null. And I can just go ahead and hit this invert tab. And you can see that it's making kind of a cool texture on top of our streamed print. And already you're like, whoa, what kind of creative possibilities can I go with here? I'll do the exact same thing with the other side as well. And if I do both, you can see now we've kind of inverted, and there's almost a three-dimensionality to the prints because this isn't perfectly mapped of the JPEG straight onto the actual print. And it kind of has this cool way of making it look like it's been kind of like dug out of the texture. And I kind of like it in that sort of imperfection. And there's some kind of like, you know, red and blue kind of mixing of the colors of from the projector onto the print itself. And it already, with very minimal work, we have something that looks kind of cool and then we can play with. So from here, what we can do is actually apply a background onto the back of this as well. So I can go ahead and click a quad right here. I'm just going to drag it over to the entirety of the back of our projector. I'm going to name this BG, and I'm going to drop it on the bottom of this. And I'm going to go back over into our media over here. And let's say I have all these different kind of example noise textures and things like that I can plop on the back of this. And if I go back into TouchDesigner, you can see, you know, in the same sort of way that we could apply, you know, noise onto different textures, MadMapper kind of avails of the same possibilities. If I wanted to go ahead and fully control a situation like this solely in Touch, what I can do is just kind of drop down a noise, and I'm going to pull out a null as well, and do the same thing of just outputting a spout texture as well. And then once I have my spout texture down, I'm just going to name it BG just for clarity. Go back into MadMapper, and I can do the same thing I did before, where we're going to go down to spout. Should have BG right here. And then now I can go back into Touch, and we can animate this noise, do the exact same thing that we did prior, times like 0.1. And it's already looking kind of cool, where the prints are cut out in the back of the texture. You could go and have any sort of plug and play texture that you want, pop into the back of this. What you will notice is that there are, in the way that I cut out the masking, there is some spillover of the background content onto the actual print. And there's probably a good way to handle this in MadMapper. I just went ahead and grabbed this print over here, copied and pasted it, pop it behind print 1. I go fully black so that I can't see anything. And then there's this scale button right here, and I can just scale this up a little bit so that I get rid of that sort of projector spillover. I'll do the same thing over here. Drag this underneath, make it black, and then scale it up. So now it's not perfect, but you know what? It'll do the trick. And you can tweak this, you know, all day long, make it super perfect. I'm just trying to show you guys rough concepts and stuff like that. So the easy ways to kind of plus this situation up is just to be really smart about how we deploy different textures in our scene. So right off the bat, I replaced the noise texture with it's pretty close to a loop texture that I generated from Runway. It's just using, you know, 2 different of the same Nano Banana images, and I just had a looping scene of the tree leaves, you know, rustling in the wind, yada yada yada. And it already in our scene creates a lot of cool depth, but I can also do some fun processing on the actual images themselves. So I'll go ahead and pull this up, and I'm going to pull down a threshold, make the comparator greater, so that now, luckily, the white background of my print is something that I can make use of, and it's going to cut away the black template that I have in front of it. And, you know, I can go ahead and put that into a feedback, that into a transform, this into a level, and then into a composite. Bring this up to tidy it up a little bit, this one down. take the composite, drag into the feedback, take the threshold over here, pop it in here, and take the transform, and I'm gonna increase it a little bit, and then make it so the opacity is lower than that, 0.9, and the composite should be over. I can pop that into this now. And now I kind of have a cool way in which now because this image is semi-transparent, the leaves and the background are kind of playing with it a little bit, but it's also giving it kind of interesting illusion of depth. I can go ahead and do the same thing for our little guy down here. And you can see that the same sort of effect is applied to it. And I really haven't done a whole lot of crazy, top networks to make this happen. And it's already a really interesting scene that like you could throw up in no time at all. And the reason being that it's like we're using TouchDesigner as well as MadMapper. Obviously, TouchDesigner has its own kind of inbuilt projection mapping tools. But the beauty of this is that MadMapper handles all of that. We can do a whole host of stuff that you can fall down a rabbit hole of, interesting work that we can explore using the tool that's outside of Touch, but accomplish the same sort of thing in very little time. Also, if you're ever doing a gig and you're working with somebody who's set up a whole scene where it's, MadMapper, and they want you to kind of plug into the situation in a really seamless and integrated way, you could just throw up a TouchDesigner network and then, have it in 2 seconds flat. Then finally, if you want to kind of adapt this sort of minimalist kind of calm scene into something a little bit more crazy, you could go ahead and go to our source image, plop down a rectangle. I'm going to go to output, set resolution only, and take the fill alpha all the way to 0. And then the border width, we're going to just pop that up a little bit. 0.5 sounds good. Make it like white for now. And then we're going to make the size of it fit the border and make it so that it's a little bit bigger in the Y as well. And then we're going to take our feedback system over here, and we're going to pop that instead of that feedback, or pop it into the feedback right there. And it's growing bigger, but we want to make it so that the transform goes down right there. And so now we have kind of like this illusion of depth on the frame itself. Kind of want to make it a little bit smaller in the border width. And then now that's getting clipped off. So let's bring this down a little bit. Cool. And then you can see that the effect is playing on top of our silhouette, but I want to go ahead and cut that out actually. So I'm going to go and throw down a composite here and pull in our threshold into this, which is doing the opposite of what we want. So we actually want to take the negative of this. So I'm going to change the comparator to less. And then now we have kind of that depth cut out of our figure right here. And then we can take it up a little bit of a notch here. And if we go ahead and mess with the border color here, if we bring up the saturation, we can see that it's now going to animate if we change the color here. Then all we got to do to make it so that we can animate our colors here and make it look nice and crazy, but also kind of pretty, is throw down a constant, feed that into an HSV adjust, and make our constant a red color. And then the HSV adjust right here, we want to go hue offset abs time dot seconds, and it's capped at 360. So all we got to do is just do modulo 360, and we can make it faster or slower, however you want to do it. So I found abs time dot seconds times 50 modulo 360. Then we'll pull a top 2 over here. We'll do crop. We just want 1 pixel. And we can just go ahead and take our R, our G, and our B right here. So now it's changing colors and kind of radiating down as well. You can see a little bit of a faint echo and do something crazy like that.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like our YouTube content, I highly recommend you check out the Interactive and Immersive HQ Pro. The HQ Pro is the only comprehensive educational resource and community for immersive design, TouchDesigner, and creative tech pros. In the HQ Pro trainings, we cover almost any topic you can think of, and we go way more in depth than we do in our YouTube tutorials. We have a private group where Matthew Reagan, myself, and our other industry veteran and pioneer teachers answer your questions every single day. If that sounds cool, click the link in the description to learn more. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more free TouchDesigner and immersive content.